Well, congratulations, Sohail. That's where I'd like to start. Uh, Thank you to the August audience, Honorable Member of Parliament. It's a great opportunity to be here in British Columbia. I'm based at the IATA head office, global head office in Montreal, Quebec. It's a pleasure to be here. As you know, I think Sohail made my job easier by introducing IATA to you. IATA is the International Air Transport Association, with a current membership of 290 member airlines and 83% of the total global air traffic. And pretty much every major airline is our member, including cargo airlines like FedEx, DHL, etc. So IATA's mission is to lead, represent, and serve the airline industry. We work on initiatives which are needed for aviation. One of the initiatives that I think all of us are familiar with was e-ticketing. It was basically determined that there's a need to move to an e-ticketing platform from the paper tickets because printing, shipping, storing was a huge cost to the airlines, and so the board of IATA came together and they basically determined that we need to take that step. And then I think in 2007, 2008, we switched completely to e-ticketing. So that literally saved millions of dollars to the airlines. The way IATA is set up is that we are led by a group of 31 airline CEOs. And these CEOs are selected based on geographical base. So usually from the Americas, we will have Air Canada, American Airlines, and from Europe, it'll be British Airways, Lufthansa. So 31 airline CEOs basically constitute our board, and they determine, the focus that we will take. Over the last 2 years during the pandemic, there's been a huge, I would say, a sustained need for cargo deliveries. So IATA basically led that also to convert passenger aircraft into cargo aircraft, whenever needed, and to keep the global supply chain of delivering this COVID vaccinations across the world. So although there was a huge decline in the passenger traffic, there was an upsurge in the cargo traffic. So we basically immediately changed gears, and we were able to work with global standards. We have lots of working groups where we establish the global standards so that they're implemented on a standard platform across the world. So, and now since we are talking about training, obviously the need for training also shifted from face-to-face to a hybrid model. We had already, even prior to the pandemic starting, we already had virtual courses. We have partnerships with the international universities like Harvard Universities, University of Geneva for an MBA. Recently, we signed up with Carleton University in Ottawa for a public administration aviation program. So through these partnerships, we already had virtual models available of delivering training. But it's a huge industry with many different subject areas. So it could be something for the entry-level people who are like in the customer service domain. Then there are essential trainings, for example, for aviation safety, auditing airlines, safe operations of airlines, because safety is IATA's #1 priority. So obviously there are safety trainings. Then we have trainings on dangerous goods, what is carried on board an aircraft, what is deemed dangerous. For example, lithium battery. If it's a small size battery like in your watch, it's safe to fly on a passenger aircraft. But it's a huge one for a Tesla car, it probably is not. So we basically determine those standards and deliver training. So at this stage, we are delivering about 100,000 trainings around the world. We have a network of 400 plus training partners. And these partnerships, the training institutes could be a university, it could be an airline, could be an airport, could be an institute like Westminster. And so we welcome Mr. Sohail's initiative in bringing quality aviation education to British Columbia. Sohail and I, we've known each other for several years. His past being with Pakistan International Airlines, and we do deliver training to airlines, especially on a customized basis. So while students who come to Westminster will be more on an entry level, learning about the tricks of the trade and, also determining what side of the business they want to go in. Do they want to work for a civil aviation authority, for an airport, for an airline? So there's plenty of avenues. And the pandemic has shown us that there is a growing need. Growing need because a lot of people had to look for alternate ways of, let's say, sustaining themselves. A lot of cabin crew I know, who had to be laid off the airlines, entered into customer service kind of jobs because, they're already well trained. So as a result, now that aviation is kind of going back up, we need skilled people. And this goes all the way from entry-level positions to all the way up to pilots. So aviation is, it's a global industry, and there's always a growing demand. And the global industry also brings to mind another thing is our IATA certification. So once you have an IATA certificate, it is recognized all over the world. It's not a local recognition. All of our member airlines, which is, like I said, 290 of them, will recognize an IATA certificate. There are, on top of the 290 airlines, we have another maybe 200-300 airlines who may not be members, but they still process their ticketing, etc., through us. To the travel agent community, we provide the service where travel agent monies are transferred to airlines, from an airline to an airline. So that financial transaction also is managed by IATA. We call it BSP, Billings and Settlements Plan. And we roughly handle about $400 billion of transactions each year. So that's another service we provide to the travel and tourism as well as the aviation industry. So IATA is pretty much involved in many different kinds of trainings. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I had not prepared a speech covering each and every aspect. So feel free to get hold of me now or later. And congratulations, Sohail, once again. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.